Hey guys, I kind of wanted to just dive right in with this video because I think this is a video that's going to take me a while and take me kind of multiple videos to make. But I really wanted to get into the heart of the reason why I decided to make this website. It was something I kind of thought about for a while, but what really has pushed me over the edge with making it is that I'm constantly seeing people either doing one of two things, glorifying cutting. And, just taking pictures of their cuts and putting them on Facebook, putting them on Tumblr. And, they get lots of reblogs and, lots of things that I'm just like, why? Why are we glorifying something that is an honest problem? And the second thing is that I see a lot of kind of the other way with somebody who has a cutting problem and they're saying, oh, well, they're doing it for attention. And I'm just, I kind of talked just briefly about it in my first video. But both of those things really bother me because I'm somebody who actually went through a cutting problem, who was going through a cutting problem, and it's really hard to see stuff like that when you know that you yourself went through that problem. Okay, let me get right into my story before I go on to any more about how I feel about other people. I hate it so much when I see people say that you're cutting for attention because, it's a cry for help. And a cry for help is ultimately a cry for attention. And not that I think it's an attention seeking behavior, like what they're trying to make it sound like. But if you're cutting, you need some attention. Something's wrong. And with my own personal story and battle with it, I was really thinking hard on it yesterday. I really can't even remember when it first started. I know that it started in I think I was in 8th grade. I'm fairly certain I was in 8th grade. And I think it was around the time that I broke up with my first real boyfriend broke up with me, and I kind of got into a relationship with somebody else who wasn't so nice, and some other things that I'll talk about further on down kind of happened right in that same area. But I don't actually remember the first few times. Really, the only thing I remember is when it got bad. But I do know that it did start as an attention-seeking thing. I felt really invisible, and I felt like I wasn't being noticed. I felt like that at home. I felt like that in the relationship I was in. I felt like that with my friends, and it just boiled up into well, I'm gonna show them. They're gonna ignore me. I'm gonna show them, and that's a problem. That is a problem. And what happens with it is that it has an addictive quality, because when you're at that age and you're basically teaching yourself, when I have a problem, this is what I'm going to do. And so the more times you do that, that's kind of just where your brain goes. And I know that not because I'm a psychologist or anything like that, but because I've dealt with it. Even now, when I get extremely emotionally distraught and upset, that's the first thing my brain goes to. And that's 8th grade. That's 6 or 7 years ago, and it still goes to that place. I'm actually going to share a story with you that I actually have not shared with anybody ever, so it's kind of a big deal. But something I've learned in having this problem is that taking the shame away from it and taking the feeling that it's something that's shameful really helps. When you're really open and honest with a problem like this, it honestly helps. And the fact that I'm able to do that now is just a huge step for me in my own recovery from it. But I remember in 8th grade, I had a boyfriend that cheated on me quite a bit, which was stupid. Why was I with him? Duh, I should have left him. But and I remember he cheated on me with this girl, and of course I said, don't talk to her, don't talk to her at all, don't text her, don't Facebook/MySpace, or I don't know what we had then, And he walked me to my locker down the hallway, left to go to his. And I got done real fast, and I was walking back to catch up with him. And on his way to his locker, he had stopped at her locker. I was talking to her. And we'd had a huge problem with this. And I got so upset. And I went to class, and I was angry, and I was ready to hit somebody, and my anger was just boiling over, and I was so emotionally distraught that all I could think in my head was that I need to go and cut myself. I need to go and cut myself. Only that's not what you think of in your head, or at least I don't. I don't literally think I need to cut myself. It's just that feeling of that's what I need to do. I need to go and do that. I need to go and do it now. And I was crying, and I was trying to hold back the tears because I was sitting in class, and finally I asked to be excused to go to the bathroom. And of course I didn't have anything on me that I could cut myself with. So, and this is where I really realized when I look back that I really had a problem. But I took, we had agenda books, and I remember I tried to use the edge of it because it was kind of sharp, but that didn't work. So I took the binding out of the spine of it and used that to cut myself. And anybody who I went to school with or has agenda books knows that it's still a pretty dull plastic. So it really took some effort. And of course it wasn't like a deep cut or anything like that, but it's just the point that I felt like I needed to do that. And that's a problem. And anybody who's going through that right now, I definitely can relate and understand, and I'm not here to judge you. That would be extremely hypocritical. And I just remember that same time in my life was definitely the worst time for me with cutting. The years that came after that came with lots of kind of recovery and then relapse, just like with any other kind of addiction. There is recovery and there is relapse with this, and it is real. And anybody who tells you that it's not a real problem is obviously never suffered any kind of problem like that. But I remember that same time period. I remember getting upset and just completely ruining the whole forearm. And I remember doing it and being like, I'll show them. And then later it's always like a shameful, I need to hide this kind of thing, because you kind of come back down to your you, and you realize, this is bad. I remember one time that really woke me up. It wasn't the end of my problem, definitely, but it was kind of like the wake-up call. I remember waking up one morning after I'd been in a huge fight with my boyfriend and had cut, and my whole arm was just covered in just these angry, bloody lines, and I counted and there was like 30 of them. And I remember thinking, wow, what am I going to do about this? Because anybody who's done it knows it takes a while for them to heal, and a lot of times they scar. And I remember just thinking, wow, I am psychotic. I can't tell anybody about this, because if I tell anybody, they're going to think I'm crazy. And that's pretty much what happened for a lot of that whole year, was that I was afraid that people would think I was crazy. And you're not crazy. It is a problem, and people do not always cut themselves because they want to kill themselves. It's a way of dealing with emotional pain when you don't know how else to deal with it. And there really needs to be a wake-up call to everybody about this problem. And I think it's something that needs to be addressed, and this is my way of addressing it, is telling you my story with it and my struggles. And I think this video is probably running a little bit long, so like I said, this is going to take me lots of videos to get everything out that I want to get out. This is just the very beginning of my struggle with it, and it's something that I definitely still struggle with, but I have had lots of time to find other ways, and there's always another way. So anybody who has gone through it, is going through it, just don't ever lose hope or give up hope on it, and just don't feel like you're crazy, because you're not. And this is a problem that I as well suffer with, so you are not alone. I'm gonna go ahead and end this video because again, it's probably like 15 minutes long by now, but I felt it was an important first step in our relationship. So again, thank you for anybody who watches this. It means a lot to me, and I love you guys. Please keep watching and following and supporting me.